All right, guys. So we're back. Sorry about that glitch that we had, but we got it all figured out. Hopefully, you all can hear us. And so we wanted to chat. I asked Derek if he would mind having just a little discussion with me about this recent memo that went out by the MAGA speaker of the Florida House of Representatives. So he recently sent out a memo to all the elected representatives from all the House districts, basically saying that that he wants to convene a special committee to perhaps explore redrawing the congressional maps that were just drawn in the 2020 to 2022 session.
Right.
And so I have a lot of questions about, number one, what does the committee intend to do? I guess, like, what is their function? What's the purpose of it? Is it to distract because it's really not going to go anywhere? Is it actually serious? Is this something? Is this the precursor to getting to where this is what they need to do in order to take it to the next step? I'm just wondering what your thoughts on that are.
Well, what I will say is it's unfortunate. This is where we are. It was expected at this point in time. I saw it coming because, quite frankly, I was actually surprised that we weren't the first because usually Florida is the testing ground for whatever happens in the nation. But for whatever reason, Texas beat us to it. Here's where we are. Donald Trump, the man in the White House, said that he wants everybody, all the Republican states, start pushing for redistricting even outside of midterms. So I guess what we should look at, or picking out how, what did they say? They said picking up how we figuring out how we choose our folks who represented us, right? So let's look at this. For everybody else who knows, this is done this process is done after every census cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we do this, we expect to have this done every 10 years. So for the state of Florida, as the population grows and or shifts, we should expect maps that reflect said growth and shift in the state of Florida. Now, because we are in a super majority, meaning that there are an abundance of Republicans in the Florida House and Senate, they get to draw maps that necessarily make sure they conceal power, right? So we did this back in the 2020 to 2022 session after the census. There's no need for us to draw a map. But what does that say? I guess to me, it says that folks are running scared. They're making a lot of decisions that not only impact Democrats, but it impacts everybody, and it impacts everybody negatively. And so the only way to make sure that they don't have a unsuccessful midterm election is to cheat, and this is their way of cheating. So when we look at this, they say that it doesn't impact any of the state seats, right? It's just the congressional maps. When we look at that, what does that mean for us? Like right now, what do we have? There are 28 districts, I believe, in
Mm-hmm.
the state of Florida that make up our map. So we have 28 representatives, right? Out of those 28, only 8 are
Right on.
Democrats.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, how do you draw the map that whittles that down even further, right? It's. I'd be curious to see how they get to a map that doesn't reflect that could possibly whittle down Democratic representation in the state of Florida.
So when we were thinking about, because we say that this was impossible to happen in Texas, right? But it did kind of happen in Florida already. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like it did
Mm-hmm.
kind of, they already did it to Al Lawson's district. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, Stephanie Murphy kind of got gerrymandered out of her district. That's the main reason
Yeah.
why she didn't run again, because she was just like,
Right.
I'm probably not going to win.
Right.
So I kind of feel like people slept on Florida nationally. We were all on top of it when they were going after Al
Mhm.
Lawson's district, to the point that we took the case all the way to the Supreme Court and
Mhm.
unfortunately lost. But I feel like that Florida actually started this. And then
Mhm.
it went to North Carolina, Louisiana has had a case, Alabama has had a case, and now first Texas is the first state that's basically being blatant about it. They're basically like,
Mhm.
this is what we're doing because we can do it. It's legal. We want y'all out, and we need to deliver these seats for this regime. All the rest of
Mhm.
other states, I guess, were kind of like given ridiculous reasons, or at least trying
Mhm.
to save face. I felt Texas is just like, we don't have to give you the ridiculous reasons. This is why we're doing it. So
Right.
I'm wondering if now Florida is like, we've been wasting all of this time trying to give legal reasons. We actually don't need a legal reason.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think they're trying to mask it. I don't think they're trying to hide it. And I think for those who are viewing who are like, well, what why does this matter? They're going to do what they're going to do. I would tend to ask everybody to point back to where we are right now and look at North Carolina as a great example. You mentioned it before. They
Mm-hmm.
just recently went through their redistricting where they tried to pick up seats right now, right? And so as a result of that, North Carolina picked up three new seats
Three, yeah.
for Republicans, right? In the US House. What's the differential between Democrats and Republicans currently in the House? Three. So you have to pay attention to, and those three seats allow them to pass legislation like the big ugly bill, the things that are happening. These are the things that impact us. So this attempt at trying to uh, fraudulently dictate how we elect our representatives
Mm-hmm.
is something that, of course, when we look at it, we need to be paying attention because it doesn't have just implications for us in Northwest Florida. It doesn't have implications for just Florida. This is nationwide implications. And, you know, this is where we are.
So now it begs um, the questions that I have is that, was it possible when we knew that they were trying to draw Al Lawson out of his seat? Was it possible for the Democrats to sort of do what the Democrats in Texas are doing, meaning leave the state to deny the legislature quorum? I'm wondering if that was even a possibility. Was that a thought? Or is it because I think Texas actually does have a supermajority too, if I'm not mistaken?
I don't think they're in a supermajority,
No?
not to the same degree that we are, because clearly their votes, them not being present matters, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think in our situation, every Democrat could flee the state or do the same thing, and they're still able to call a conference or able to call a host committee to pass through
Okay.
things. So Democrats in this set are not needed in present day. Now, when we look at that cycle when they redrew the gerrymandered. I know we're not supposed to say it, but I have to say it. That's the way it is. Gerrymandered Al Lawson out of his seat. I don't know. I don't remember if we were in as bad of a supermajority as
Mm-hmm.
we were, or whether or not they would have been able to make that same play and it mattered.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
So then the question is, do Democrats even participate in this process? I don't know the answer to that because it says in the letter, if you speak out against what we all know, that's automatic grounds for not even being considered.
Right.
So by signing up to be on this committee, you're basically handcuffing yourself to telling the truth to the voters about what's going on. So then, do we try and win the messaging war by not handcuffing ourselves? Or do we participate in a process that they really don't need us for, that we know they have the votes to implement what they want to implement? but then they can call it bipartisan because there were Democrats that were a part of the process.
Right. Right. I'm
So
not sure
just
what the yeah, I don't know what the best resolve is in this case. I think, and this is me. So when we look at it, right, we know that Democrats currently have 8 seats congressionally in the state of Florida, right?
mm-hmm.
Both of them being in South Florida, but then there's that Tampa to Orlando stretch, right? That on the Tampa side that's what Kathy Castor, that is the representative. I think she's on that part
Yeah,
of the state,
she's in
and then
Tampa.
you've
Frost.
got Maxwell Frost in Orlando, right? And then everybody else is uh, South Florida, right? So if you push everybody, let's say you push everybody to the South Florida, I don't know. Okay, so the only resolve in this, right, is to push everybody to push them into South Florida, because there's no way to gerrymander a seat in the central part that doesn't open the door for, like, what is it, CD Maxwell Frost is CD what, 10? So what is it, CD 7? Congressional District 7. The one that's occupied, I think, is it Corey Mills that has
Mm-hmm.
Stephanie Murphy?
Yeah.
Um, that opens the door for that to be blue. So you can't push them. Well, you can't gerrymander it to the east, right? If you look at that seat, you can't gerrymander it to. You can't gerrymander Kathy Castor's district east, because that opens it to folks in Orlando, right? On the western part
Mm-hmm.
of Orange County. So you've got
But you can
Orange
go
and then
north.
York. You can go north, but I don't know that that's going to make a benefit. That's going to make that's going to be beneficial, right? So even if you let's say, well, you go north where, on Kathy Castor's side, yeah, you could
Yeah.
go north. On their side, going north does no good, right? Because then you're just expanding Republicans in the Republican territory. So that I'm curious to see how they're going to draw what futile attempt they're going to do, because we're not Texas, so you can't shift it. We're not
Mm-hmm.
land wise, we're not that large. I mean, we're a big state, but there's only so much room between the Gulf of Mexico and the Atlantic Ocean that you can move people around
But
to your
don't you
benefit.
feel like they can figure out a way? If there's a way, they gonna figure it out.
Yeah, yeah. Now,
Because even with
when
Al
you look,
Lawson's district, they were blocked. I mean, they were blocked with Georgia to the north, the Atlantic Ocean to the east. So the only places they had to go was towards Tallahassee or south. And where did they go? Towards Tallahassee and south.
yeah,
And it worked
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're right. It just, I think, mm, I look at this, because I remember the days, and I used to think this goes back to how far um, we've come in the way they situated, and the way the maps are drawn. I remember when Representative, I don't know if you lived in when you got to Florida, but we had Congresswoman Corrine Jones, right? I don't know if you're familiar with her.
Mm-mm.
Love her to death. But Congresswoman Corrine Jones was in Jacksonville, in her district. It was the way, and this is again where when Democrats had control of the state, it like maneuvered through Jacksonville, so it only picked up predominantly black sections of Jacksonville, down to like Green Coast Springs and Clay County, through Apopka and Putnam County, and then came out to like Orange County. It was such a way that it only picked up black portions of the district in that seat.
Mm-hmm.
That went away, and now they have completely the representation is now Republican, and not even a person of color holds that seat, right? So we've swung so far to the left or to the right in terms of um, gerrymandering these seats that I get it. Not that I get what they're doing. I know that this is the game that they win. I understand that people are looking at this and saying this. I think this is a tell to say this is the only strategy that we have that is going to guarantee that we don't lose seats in the state of
Mm-hmm.
Florida. I mean, keep in mind, we still have what, a 1.3, the Republicans still have a 1.3 million voter registration advantage over Democrats in the state of Florida. I honestly don't know if this is a worthwhile effort, right? Because they still exist. Like where you, however you draw the lines, the people will still be. I just don't see how you gut the seats that you just open the doors for more. If you open, to me, if you open the door for more Republicans to vote in Democratic seats,
Mm-hmm.
then those seats, the districts in any direction near, you then open the door for Democrats to take or lessen the
Mm-hmm.
possibility for those incumbents in those Republican seats in those districts that surround them to keep and retain their seats. I just think it's a lose-lose situation. But if that's the path they want to go down, I'd like to see how it plays out.
So what about, because the districts in the Miami-Dade, not, I was about to say Pensacola Beach, Palm Beach,
Mm-hmm.
because those districts tend to be smaller geographically because the population's larger, I feel like that would make it easier because you could literally cut it by street if you wanted to. And I would presume that in cities, like most cities, the neighborhoods are segregated, because
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't strike me as Miami to be anything but any other city in the South where it would be
Right.
segregated, so you could literally cut, make slices and dices based on even neighborhoods. I feel like it would be easier in southern Florida than it actually would be along the I-4 corridor because of those um, geographic boundaries that will certainly
Yeah.
restrict how far east or west you can go without running into each other. I don't know. I just know we in
Yeah.
trouble because I
Yeah.
feel
We
like
are.
if they find a way, that way, if there's a way to happen, they will find it. It's not like it's gonna be a mystery.
Yeah.
If there's a way to
Yeah.
make it happen, they're gonna find it. And the
Yeah.
question is whether or not this committee is the precursor to that, a formality, or just to give, or just a distraction. And I don't know which
Yeah.
one it is, to be honest.
and and I get what you're saying. I think their target in their minds are Representative Frost and Representative Castor's seats. That
Mm,
I don't think they're as interested in trying, because I think what they want to do is push the Democratic stronghold into South Florida and take out the Central Florida delegation. I think that's what they're trying to do.
mm,
Look at it. So I'm not, when we look at it, if that's their approach and if that's what they follow through, I think they're opening themselves up to a worse. Uh, they're going to be. It's going to be more problematic for Republicans than it is going to be for us. That's what I
hmm.
think. So, like when you look at those, think about it. So, I'd be curious, and I don't know what the swings are, right? But those seats that are in Central Florida or South Florida, unless they, like anybody who's right now, it's common knowledge, or the rule of thumb has been based on the performance of the special elections in Florida. And let's be clear, the special election performance here in Northwest Florida. Um, all of political analysts are saying here in the state of Florida, if you're in a R plus 15 or less district, you should be concerned, right? So I'm curious as to whether those districts that are around Central and South Florida, if they are indeed, in fact, are plus 15 or less. If they are, then if they go through those seats, particularly with Representative Frost and Representative Castor, I think it puts them in trouble.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can bring up this map and put it on the screen. Give me 1 second. This is his letter. Oh, that's huge. Can you see it?
Yeah, I can see it. Mm-hmm.
So, okay. I'll move that over. All right. So you're saying Kathy Castor's district, which is the little blue speck. But what are those two
Yeah.
blues? What are those two blue districts in the center in Central Florida?
So I know the blue. Yeah, honestly, I don't know. Like this game, is this a congressional? Is this a congressional
Yeah,
district
this
map?
looks like congressional. This looks like the
Okay,
one before and then after, because I can see Al Lawson's district is now
it's
gone.
now. Yeah, so the one before is the one where you see the blue in the north, right? In
Right,
North Florida, that was before, and this is the after, right? So
right.
this blue, I think, is CD 10. The
Okay.
dark blue is CD 10. One of these is Jared Moskowitz, is it not? Um,
I
I
thought he
don't.
was
I don't
in
remember.
thought he was in Palm Beach.
Is he okay?
So it's McCormick, Moskowitz, Wasserman Schultz, Frederica
Mm-hmm.
Wilson,
Mm-hmm.
and is there anybody else I'm
Sheila
missing?
Shriffless. Sheila Shriffless
Yeah.
McCormick.
Oh, I know who that is. That's Darren Soto and Frost.
Oh, okay, got it, got it.
Okay, yeah. So that's Kathy Castor in the Tampa area, and then that must be Soto and Frost's district in the
Mm-hmm.
Orlando area.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Well, look at this. Now, I don't. I'd be curious. What does the light pink or the peach color represent? Does it give you a key?
it does not. Let me see.
So
Well,
we clearly see that our CD1 is just as red can be, right? Um, it's like the although I feel like it's probably not that red anymore, but whatever. It is what it is. Um, CD2, CD3, um, and even still in these pockets of where you see, I guess, in these light pockets of pink, what they don't show is the house seats and where they are, because Gainesville is dead smack in the center, and that is blue, but you don't see it reflected in the map, right?
mm-hmm.
So that's what I keep saying, like pushing these districts out, like where it is not so red, gives these reds an opportunity to lose their seats, in my opinion. Or at least maybe these pinks are the lightest shades of your red is just barely holding on. It's not deep, or
Mm,
it's not deep. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah.
if you push out Darren Soto's seat, anybody's seat out differently, that makes an impact for those folks in whatever this pink is, that's Brevard and Martin and all that stuff on the East Coast. That makes them a little bit more susceptible to becoming blue. I just don't see how you cut it. That makes a difference.
Mm, okay. Okay. It's po-
In Central Florida, right? In Central
mm-hmm.
Florida. In South Florida, you absolutely could. I don't see it in Central Florida, but maybe they see something that I don't see.
And I'm surprised that because they keep advertising that, haven't they been advertising that the Republican registrations have, they flipped Miami-Dade County?
Yeah, so Miami-Dade has flipped now in
So are
terms
they
of
saying
voter
that,
registration. It is now a red county. It is no longer a blue county. However, it's blue in leadership, but not, well, in certain pockets, I guess, but not red as, but the voter registration reflects otherwise.
okay.
But that's just a new as of 2025.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this was the 2020 redistricting census map.
Yeah.
So it's changed since then.
hmm Yeah, they
Okay.
were en route, and I think as of November, there were about 30 November 2024. They were still blue in terms of voter registration numbers, and they were on target to be flipping red. And then 2025, say February, I think it was, they officially did the flip. So
Mm,
Republicans outnumbered the number of Democrats in terms of registration. Now, it,
well,
that was also pre. I don't know, those who have been swept up in the ice raids in South Florida, would they be registered?
Mm-mm. Well, unless they're citizens, because they don't
Yeah,
care.
I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know how many of those people are citizens because they took away the status for Cubans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a heavy, large stronghold. So I don't know what impact that had in terms of voter registration, folks.
Mm.
Um,
They gonna think,
but yeah,
but as long as it ain't me, that's what I'm thinking.
yeah.
So do
So this,
do they participate? That's the question.
that's a great one. I don't know. I
I mean,
I don't think that they have the same. They don't have the same option as the uh, Texas delegation does.
mm-hmm.
So their well, let me rephrase. Their non-participation won't stop progress.
The non-participation won't stop progress.
Mm-hmm.
Participation won't stop progress. But participating comes at a cost. You have to hand over, I don't know. It's kind of like you want a seat at the table, but then if the seat at the table handcuffs you to exposing the true nature of what this process is, then is it worth it?
So when you say that, what line are you looking at? That last paragraph? What are you
Yeah,
saying?
where it was
So
saying that
for
you
those,
wouldn't be considered.
yeah, for those who can't necessarily didn't see it online or didn't see read it where BJ says it does say, please be advised that we will not be appointing to the select committee anyone who has expressed an interest in running for Congress. In addition, while as elected members of the House, you are free to express your own opinions, statements about redistricting that suggests an intent to favor or disfavor an incumbent or political party, which is currently prohibited by the Florida Constitution, will also disqualify you from consideration.
So what you think?
Yeah.
Because it says in favor or not in favor, but the people that are in favor, they won't really have to say anything because they have the
Yeah.
committee.
Right.
The committee is their declaration of being in favor because you wouldn't establish a committee mid-cycle in the middle of a in the middle of a census cycle if you weren't in favor of exploring the option of doing what you're doing.
Right.
So the committee is their declaration of being in favor of it. So that's the way they get around it. So I just feel like it handcuffs us.
Right.
And I'm wondering who would even be on. And I mean, unless they take a strategy of, okay, these are our go-to people that we're going to put on that committee, but the rest of us, we will take up the mantle. But Democrats
Right.
don't coordinate very well together, especially across racial lines. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know.
That's it's a hard one. I'd love to see what they
Hopefully,
plan
the
to do.
minority leader is having some meetings
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
coming up with some strategy.
Well, the one thing that I will say, if no one else should feel confident, is if there's cause for concern or they think that the Florida House Democrats will be without strategy, the one thing that they should know is Leader Driscoll is by far probably the smartest person in the Florida House of Representatives. She knows what she is doing. I would think she's our own version of Hakeem, except as a woman. So she is great, intelligent, Harvard educated. She can figure out what needs to be done, right? And they'll have a strategy. I just don't know what that is. I'd be curious
Hmm.
to see what their thoughts are and what they plan to do.
But are they going to listen to her? That's the thing.
Well, you know, yeah,
I ain't going to get you in trouble.
no, yeah, Look, I'm just saying, yeah. I can't even answer your question without. Um, yeah, look,
Our
hey,
hope is that that they're all on the same page. That's the
yeah,
hope.
yeah, yeah,
If
and
they're
I think they
not
will
gonna,
be.
yeah, well,
Yeah,
I mean, we're in
I,
for
I
one.
would, I would, I would expect them to be. You know,
What I take from
give me.
this though is in conclusion, if there's a pathway to carve out more seats, they're gonna find it. So we need to be
Right.
prepared for that. Um, and what the response looks like to that, unfortunately, because we have no legislative power, with the supermajority, it's gonna have to be from the people. So we're gonna have to show out in ways that maybe people of our generation aren't accustomed to doing. Otherwise, if we don't have the option of the legislators leaving the state to deny quorum to literally stop it, then it's going to have to be a people driven movement.
Yeah. So they have asked. They've talked about putting out the all call for everyone to call their senator in the state of Florida, their House rep, to tell them no to redistricting. Right. Um, I I don't know that I've ever seen anyone. Well, so what I will say is, what is our senator? They say his staff says that he always is open and he changes his mind often based on his the folks in his district, whatever their input is. He has often changed his mind. I don't know if that's the case or not because I don't know where he stands on half his stuff anyway. But this is one we'll see. I think though that we're seeing. I don't know what you feel, but what I see in Escambia County are people connecting the dots and becoming a little bit more outraged. People who I have seen not necessarily express or be as civically engaged and sometimes even voting are coming out to community meetings, to coming out to getting their input and saying, what can we do? And I think everybody is coming to a head. There's, it's at a boiling point now. So for us, I think it is going to be critical for us to keep the momentum going and
Mm-hmm.
capitalize on what's happening. Um, I don't think in 2026, again, this is why I think they're seeing this, that we're seeing this push. I don't think that they think that they can win based on, where we are right now. And it's sad because as gerrymandered as the state already is, for you to be concerned that you're going to lose seats. I mean, you put up the map earlier. It's still, even after redistricting, abundantly red, right? If you're still that concerned about losing seats, then that must tell you that there's to me, it signals that there's a change coming. People are not happy. People felt like they've been lied to because they were. Um, People felt like their interests are not being looked out for because they're not.
Mm-hmm.
So what does this say for people?
They're realizing that day one inflation's going to be gone didn't happen. They
Mhm.
realize their groceries are still expensive. So
Yeah, he didn't stop the wars, right?
if
He
anything,
didn't release
escalated.
files, right? And can we just talk about this for just a brief minute? Because I didn't, I honestly would have never thought that this is the hill that people would be dying on, are these Epstein files. But I think whatever gets them to to that point, hey, fine. If like you want to know, I want to know too, right? Let's go. Let's get with it. But this is, I to me, I guess I am more surprised that people aren't concerned. They're more concerned with Epstein files than they are with inflation. They're more concerned about Epstein files than they are concerned about the affordability crisis. They're more concerned about Epstein files than they are about not having property insurance when we're in the middle of hurricane season. But
Hmm.
whatever works, I guess, at this point in time, I'm with you too.
I can't explain it. I can't explain how knowing who's on that list takes priority over literally how you feeding your family.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. But hell, they were concerned about Clinton and Monica Lewinsky,
Right, right, right.
and people lost their stuff over that too. So it's just I don't know. I don't know if it's a distraction from the struggles that people are going through, and people need a distraction because real life is too hard. So the dangling object is more attractive to focus on. I don't know if maybe there's a psychiatric or psychological component to it, but I don't understand when you read the polls, and the polls are saying that people are spending more time, people are losing sleep over how they're gonna pay their bills. People are now relying whereas you used to use your credit card to buy gifts and things. Now people are using their credit cards to literally pay for their monthly expenses like their light bill and their water bill, and
Mm-hmm.
people are now having to rely on credit cards for literally activities of daily living, not just to go and buy, Christmas presents. So that's what people are reporting in polls, and yet Epstein is what's driving the narrative. But I agree with
Right,
you. Whatever gets them to wake up, I mean,
right, right,
is what gets them to wake up. But the important thing is that once they're awake, then we got to pivot to the stuff that really matters. Because at the end of the day, I can guarantee you that whoever's on that list ain't gonna be able to pay your bills.
right, right, right.
Right.
But
They
then
ain't coughing up
I guess,
no money.
yeah. Well, then the question becomes, how do you pivot? How do you get people off of Epstein to be like, okay, what is a great pivot? What is a transition that you can easily and successfully pivot from Epstein and talking about child uh, pedos to inflation, or you can't pay your groceries? Like, because they're so diametrically opposed, how do you get there? I don't even. I don't think you can answer. I don't know that there's an. I mean, maybe you can. I'll just say you're super smart,
Oh,
but I just don't know how you get there because it's so like boom, boom. It's so opposite. They're so polarizing to me.
maybe
And to me,
Jasmine knows.
right, she might. To me, if you're interested in one, you're not interested in the other, or maybe there's a blend of folks that might be interested in both. But if your priority is here, clearly your priority is not there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, but we got work to do. So I wish our Florida House Democrats uh, grace, courage, and wisdom in this
Mm-hmm.
fight. And know that although we don't have any in this area, um, they're gonna do what they need to do,
Mm-hmm.
and not just for Democrats, but for everybody, right?
Right.
Because that's the thing that we continue to make. I think is lost upon people. Democrats look out for everybody. They don't just look out for Democrats. They look out for everybody, irrespective
Mm-hmm.
of party, irrespective of race, irrespective of gender. Um, the other side looks out for Republican white males, right?
Right. Well, if they do use the strategy of we're gonna put our some on the committee, and then our other ones are gonna be our talkers. Hopefully, it's people who know how to get in front of a camera and talk. Because some you obviously sometimes the people who show
Y'all
up in
put the
front of the
wrong.
microphone ain't always the best messengers. So people are gonna have to know their role and play their position. So if you understand, voting law and districting and maps, if that's your thing, then maybe you should be on a committee. If you probably shouldn't be in front of the microphone, which sucks because I feel like Senator Jones could do either.
Hmm.
I just feel like if he got on that committee, though, we would be losing a really good messenger.
So, is it just the house right now? It's just the house, right? So it's not.
Oh, that's true.
There's
Yeah,
not.
you're right.
Yeah. So, um, you know, I think in this situation, he's great. If it's just limited to the house, he's great to be the talker, right? And he
Yeah.
can, to your point, he could do either or, right? But um, I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think of who our house folks are to say, oh, yep, I'm with it. I like it. You know,
Hmm.
I
Yeah, we
don't
would
know
have
who
to
the.
go down a list and see, okay,
Yeah,
committee,
it's sitting there,
camera.
as I'm sitting there trying to find the list. I'm like, where are they at? I can't seem to get there. So I'm like,
Hmm.
all right, well,
I'm
this
just
is where we are.
thinking, let's see, Leader Driscoll would probably be good for either or. Um, I mean, I hate to say which one would be better because then that kind of means that I don't think that they would be good for the committee, which is not really what I'm trying to say. I think that
Right.
that that I always say you need to find out what your skill and your talent is, and then play that position to the fullest instead of trying to divide yourself between multiple things, because then you dilute your most valuable asset. So, I think certainly Angie Nixon would be a great communicator. Uh, that doesn't mean that I don't think she would be a great committee member. I just feel as though her strength, when she was at that press conference, mean mugging DeSantis after that dollar store shooting, I was just like, she has her finger on the pulse of the people of her district.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was trying to find it, and I was like, oh wait, I can look at the representatives and sort them by party. So we've got. Um, I see some folks. When we look at talkers, like certainly. Well, wait, is LaVon Bracy Davis still in office, or did she have to resign? She resigned her seat, right? So she's no longer because
Yeah.
she's running for the Senate seat. So you've got Daryl Campbell, Kevin Chambliss, Lindsey Cross, Dan Daly, uh, Kimberly Daniels. I'm not familiar with her. Leader Driscoll, Lisa Dunkley, uh, Javante Edmonds, Anna Eskamani, Gallup Franklin, Ashley Gant. They've got some folks who have all emerged. That's the thing about the the current House delegation for the House Democrats. They're all some wildfire great folks who, in any resolve, could uh, be either great on the committee or in front. In front, be the folks speaking.
Mm-hmm. That's true. It could be like Jasmine Crockett, who's great in committee hearings as well as
Mm-hmm.
outside of committee hearings. But we're
Mm-hmm.
going to need somebody that, even when they're in the committee hearings, can create those viral, shareable moments.
Right.
So, is a daily going to be able to create a viral, shareable moment? Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know.
Yeah. You got Angie Nixon, right? Uh, when I look at it, Gallup Franklin, what's Leonard Spencer. Leonard Spencer is phenomenal. Um,
I'm not
I
familiar
think
with him.
he's
I'm going to have to look him up.
yeah, he is absolutely phenomenal. Um, Certainly, LaVon Bracy Davis is
Yeah,
great.
she's great.
Um, some of these
But
other
she's
folks,
running for Senate, right?
right, yeah. Ashley Gant is absolutely phenomenal. Go Gators. Um, Anna Eskamani, for those who uh, like hearing from her, she would also be great for a talking point. She captivates people. She has a
Mm-hmm.
great ability to do just that.
Okay.
So, we've got some folks. Leader Pro Tem Homchowski is great. Michelle Rayner is also great.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't know Allison Tant. I guess I should, but I don't know her. So,
She's in Tallahassee, I think, right?
mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, to be continued. We'll have a lot to talk about on
Yep,
Sunday.
yep, absolutely. We'll see how it works. But this is everybody to say this. Make sure you pay attention. It's time to get engaged. Register to vote. Re-enroll for vote by mail.
Yep.
Come talk about how you can volunteer. Let's make a difference.
All right. You heard
All
it.
right.
You heard it from the coalition. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. For those who tuned in, don't forget, re-enroll and vote by mail. Register to vote. And let's keep the conversation going. All right. To be
See
continued.
you. Take care.
Later.